Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Butts and Mates. Today, we have a very special guest. Please say welcome to Bryan from TV Trivia.
Hey, thanks for having me. I don't know about very special, but I appreciate the shout out.
Well, you're special to me, so...
Aw, jeez.
Well, would you like to tell my audience what you do on your channel?
Sure. So I'm the host of a podcast called TVTriviaPod. It's trivia about TV shows. So right now I've covered The Office, Rick and Morty, and The Boys. But again, it's just answering questions about what happens in those shows. For example, Julian, are you a fan of The Office or Rick and Morty?
Yeah, I am.
All right, I'm going to ask you 3 questions from The Office then, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
All right. What is Michael's middle name?
Scott.
His last name is Scott, but what's his middle name?
Oh, I don't know, Michael J. Scott, something like that, I don't know.
The letter's not far. Michael Gary Scott.
Okay.
What about, do you remember the name of his screenplay?
Sweeney Todd.
Oh, all right, that's interesting. That's the name of the musical that Andy was in, but Michael Scott's screenplay is Threat Level Midnight. One more easy one here. How about when Jim imitates Dwight, what 3 B words does he say?
Invites Dwight. I'm baffled, I don't know.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, yeah, okay. When he imitates him. Okay, I thought you said when he invites him. When he invites him.
Sorry, my
so
bad,
I was like...
Well, it's questions like that. I ask questions like that on my podcast, have people come on and answer them. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That sounds good, man. You guys should definitely check out Bryan, okay? I love his content, and it's very much fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But today, we're not going to discuss The Office or Rick and Morty or Family Guy, whatever. Today, we're going to discuss a very old classic film by Steven Spielberg, and that is Jurassic Park.
There's the music I was trying to think of.
Well, yeah, Jurassic Park. What to say that hasn't been said?
How about this? I'm on the IMDb page right now. It's almost 30 years old.
I think it came out in 1994. Isn't that right? Or 1991?
I'm looking at 93 right now.
Okay.
Is what it says on IMDb. But
Close
30
enough.
Years old.
I thought it came out way before 1993. I always thought it came out in 1980, the 80s or somewhere. So
yeah, maybe fun. Late 80s or so. Yeah.
But maybe an unpopular opinion is that I personally think that it's not that of a classic film. It's not a good film as people say it would. Like, I don't know how to say it, okay? I don't think it's as good as people say. It's quite mediocre if you ask me. And we're going to discuss the good qualities of the film and the bad qualities. But maybe you could begin to ask Bryan, what was your initial reaction of the movie?
Initially, I liked it. I'm personally a huge fan of IMDb. I rate everything on there. Now, I don't remember Jurassic Park very well, but apparently I rated it a 9, which is saying something. I might have to go back and rate that an 8. If I can't personally remember the movie that well, maybe it's down to an 8, but I will say I think it's a good movie.
Okay, I think personally I would say it's a 7.4 out of 10. Again, it's not a bad film, but I don't think it's a fantastic film, and that maybe makes it feel weird because why else is it called a classic? And maybe
7.4 is a pretty good score.
Yeah, but maybe not what people would expect. I think what's it on IMDb? Jurassic Park.
On IMDb, out of 864,000 votes, it has an 8.1.
Okay.
Which is really good. For IMDb, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 movies with a 9. You know, anything above an 8 on IMDb is really good.
It's like, I think Joker was on 8.4 out of 10, so it's shortly behind that. So and that was around 50 on the most top rated films. So I guess Jurassic Park would be on the numbered 100 spot somewhere.
I have it right here. Top rated movie number 165. According to IMDb.
I don't know if this is right, but I think it's above No Country for Old Men. Maybe I'm wrong.
Now there's a movie I do not like.
I hate you. No, okay. I'm joking.
Oh man, the Coen brothers, man. I just don't get them. I don't know what it is, but there has been nothing by the Coen brothers that I have enjoyed.
Well, we know what the next podcast is going to be about. No.
You are so on. You are so on. I did want to say one other thing here. You were mentioning how this movie is a 7.4. I was wondering, what is a 10 for you? Do you have any 10s?
I have never given a film a 10. I believe it's impossible to strike a perfect film because there's so many aspects that goes into making art, and especially movie art, from production, editing, colors to camera to writing to story to characters to development.
Sure.
So striking that perfect story is impossible to me, but I believe you can get at least to try to do your best is something that I believe makes a good film. The Last Jedi, for example, is not a film that tries to do its best. It's a film that tries to shortly make their story as fast as come out so they can make a bunch of cash. So that film is very low to me. And with this film, with Jurassic Park, I can see they spent time on it. And I think a lot of things that I enjoy about the film has nothing really to do with the story at all. That's why it's so low, is because I believe in itself the story is not that memorable, the characters are decent at best. And the things that are memorable, I believe, are actually the whole idea of the film. And that's what I'm going to get to, is that how is this film a classic? And it's something I mentioned on a different podcast that we were both on, actually. And that is the fact that movies like Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Superman, and all these kinds of film, they are basically what we call a power fantasy. It's child side of our mind that basically makes these films a classic or memorable. Everyone wants to fly, and that's why we have Superman. And everyone wants to see a dinosaur, that's why we have Jurassic Park. So the film itself doesn't actually need to tell a great story as long as it just tells its story with a great idea. There's no one that wants to live in Texas and be hunted down by a mass murderer like in No Country for Old Men. So that's why that film is not classic, because the idea of the film is not something that appeals to anyone. But what I believe makes it great is the story itself, and that's why classics become classics, because they don't invest in good storytelling, they just invest in interesting ideas.
I will say I think there's some truth behind that as well, but there's other movies though, like about normal circumstances. We got things like The Godfather and Casablanca and Shawshank Redemption, which tells a story of a man wrongly imprisoned and fighting for his life. And I don't think that's a situation anybody would envy, but the movie is just so well done.
I don't quite know if I would put them as classics, because personally, the people that are discussing them are people that are film lovers, or more art lover, if I should say, and the people who discuss Jurassic Parks are just basically film lovers, I believe. And that's why I kind of put the difference, because when I see people talk about Godfather, they talk in a more artistic way, not in just a film way. If that makes sense, because there's two ways to enjoy a film. I believe there's subject itself and entertainment-wise. People who discuss Godfather, I believe, are mostly discussing subject, and entertainment-wise, I don't see that as much.
Interesting. That is an interesting distinction there between the two, which I think I can see some merit in too. So I guess it all depends on your definition of what a classic is then. Yeah, I don't have a great response for that right now. I feel like I don't know. I guess I feel like a classic are those movies that feel timeless. Maybe not just in subject matter. I mean, I personally wasn't a huge fan of Casablanca. I don't remember it having that impact on me, but I see the posters, I see it referenced, and that it has that feeling to it, on IMDb. Shawshank Redemption, Godfather, numbers 1 and 2 rated. Next comes The Dark Knight at number 4. But The Dark Knight doesn't feel like that, doesn't have that classic quality to it. Maybe it's a time thing. Maybe in 20 years, if I remember it like I do those other ones, maybe it's a classic then. Maybe it's just too soon to tell. But things like, Schindler's List here, I think Pulp Fiction is probably a classic.
Good, Bad, and Ugly.
There you go. Yeah, another movie I wasn't a fan of personally, but what I would probably consider a classic. Oh, anyway, I'm getting off track talking about movies, which is just what I love to do. We're here to talk about Jurassic Park.
I think something that I actually enjoy about Jurassic Park is something that I don't know if many people actually think about, and that is I enjoyed the first act of the film way more than the third act. Basically, when we get introduced to the park, because when I mentioned what makes it a classic is basically the idea of the film, and that is to see a dinosaur. And the first time you see this park in detail and how it all functions, and you see these different dinosaurs, and when you first see the raptor, being born, and that famous scene when who's the guy? What's it called? Mr.
Jeff Goldblum,
the cowboy. Boy, I don't know what his name is. That's how memorable the characters are. But basically that scene when they see that long-necked dinosaur and the music plays.
Over the field.
Yeah, over the field scene.
I think, yeah.
That film resonates with so many people because it is any child's dream, and that's why I kind of love the first aspect of the film. It's because they introduce it in such a way that I began to excitedly shake in my bed when I saw those kind of dinosaurs and all that in the film, especially first time watching it, and I did it again when I'm now more of a critical film lover. So it still shows that this film has some great aspects in its child idea. I'm not saying a child idea is bad, I'm just saying if they're gonna do it well, and I think that they do it well in the first part. When it falls for me is maybe in the second or the ending of second act and the rest of the third act, because it turns into a suspense horror film, kind of, but it isn't scary at all. I don't think it's scary. Maybe it's just me, but for me personally, I don't see too much in it that really makes me scared.
Right. Now, again, it has been years since I've seen this movie. I don't quite remember these acts as well as you're describing here, but I do remember not being scared as well. I don't know if that's an age thing, how the movie aged or something, just like how, the original classic horror movies there I watched mostly in college weren't very scary. I don't know. I wonder how that would have been in theaters.
I'm kind of the person that believe this film was R-rated. I believe it'll be terrifying.
Oh, if they went all out with it, I mean, with those scenes, watching a dinosaur eat somebody could turn into an R-rated film.
I don't think it's not R-rated. I checked, and I don't know. They often, when dinosaur eats them, they just eat them behind a bush. You can't see anything.
Yeah, or it's one clean bite.
Yeah, like the toilet scene. Boom, done. No blood, anything.
That's a scene I remember.
Yeah. I mean, I believe actually the most suspenseful scene in the film is the first time the T-Rex escapes, and they show this water, boom. And that's a memorable scene because we have still not seen the dinosaur, and it's kind of the fear of the unknown. How is this dinosaur actually gonna be like? And as soon as you see it and he escapes, it doesn't still lose its charm, but after that whole scene with the car, it kind of loses its charm. I don't know how to quite say it, because there's nothing else they can really do now. We have seen dinosaurs, and the raptors are basically just the T-Rex, but not retarded. So there's nothing else behind it.
Oh, man. Again, I 100% remember the water scene. Very cool scene. And then the chase scene again being really cool. Man, I'm struggling to remember too many of that action sequences there, but I remember enjoying them for the most part. Yeah, another thing I appreciated too was the real effects. I guess they had the
practical effects.
What am I talking about?
From the raptors and the T-Rex.
Yeah, like puppets, things like that. Yeah, that make it personally feel more real.
Yeah,
if you can manage that. You know, I always draw a distinction here between the first movie of The Thing and then the one they did in the 2000s.
The prequel.
Yes, I'm a sucker for those practical effects, those puppets and stuff. I know they're not the most realistic all the time, but just the fact that it's there, I feel like you can react more to it maybe. Whereas I remember a scene in the new one where it was like the CGI two-faced monster was walking around, and I don't know, if it doesn't look like Avatar, it doesn't look super real.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, sometimes there was a huge discussion back then when they talked about Jurassic World, and personally, I'm not someone that really cares if it's practical or CGI. I, of course, appreciate practical, but people sometimes make it out to be like CGI is something that's so cheap to do, but it takes a lot of time to do. If you are a CGI artist, it's something that people also are passionate. It's its own art form almost. I don't know, personally I just don't really care, but I can see a little bit, because sometimes when you see the raptors you feel like you could touch them, like touch their nose and like pet them or something like that. That's how realistic the artwork is in the film. So I definitely say that's probably one of the very good things about the film, is that it feels very realistic, at least how they move and all that.
About this first movie here. Yeah, I mean, I believe I remember a scene in a kitchen that takes place where a raptor puts its nose through a door, and you know, like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that was what I'm remembering. There is a puppet scene there that, you know, you could have actually reached out and touched. She saw that thing opening the door, you know, that wasn't a CGI effect, and, you know, that I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say another thing that I appreciate here was that the writer of the book, Michael Crichton, also helped write the screenplay too, which I think helped, I guess, with his vision here.
Yeah.
And why things like Jurassic World and The Force Awakens didn't feel like they landed as much, because they all felt like redos of the original.
Yeah. Something important I want to say about not just the first movie, but the whole movie series in general, and that is that there's this constant need of a child to be in the film somewhere. In the first film, we have, you know, the little blonde guy and the chick. I don't know. Again, I don't care about the characters. Then the second one, you have this black chick. Then the third one, you have this young Brad. In the Jurassic World, you have this teenager and his annoying brother. And then the fifth one, you have this little child thing again. So I don't know what their problem is about having children in the films that just don't need them. Like, imagine if the Joker film that just tossed in a child just because why not? Personally, I don't see a reason for it. People say that it actually is good in the first one because, you know, he tries to learn to be a parent or something like that. Tries to get to enjoy kids. That's fine and dandy, but I don't want to hear kids scream for half an hour. I just came to watch a film with dinosaurs. If I asked for a headache, I would go and watch Markiplier.
I mean, I guess as far as what the kids add to the film, I guess for most people, we can see that sense of wonder, at least the first time they see dinosaurs and stuff, is probably how we would all feel. But Also,
They don't actually. Sorry, it's just the first time that field scene happens, the children are not there. It's just Jeff Goldblum. They come in later when the T-Rex attacks them. So
that's a less feeling of awe there. But there's also having children in this type of movie also gives them a feeling of helplessness that I feel like you worry for them then.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, sometimes I believe I see often children get used in films when they try to explore the theme of innocence. The childlike of innocence. And sometimes I did a video on it on Schindler's List, and a lot of the time they have children in the film, and that's to depict really just how scumbag the Nazis were when it involved children, and how they don't understand just how brutal the whole thing is. So that's like one thing where I can understand when they use children, and again I can understand the whole thing about it's children, you don't want to see them die, but there's not really an emotional connection to them except they are children, and in fact they're just annoying. In other words, I can understand if they made them interesting, at least gave them interesting qualities. They don't have that at all. I'm sorry, they're bastards.
It's hard to I'm having trouble thinking of a child-centric movie, a movie with children where they added a lot. The first one that comes to mind is The Sixth Sense, where that was necessary, I think, to have that kid there. He did a great job. But, I feel like most of what they add to this one then is, it is that suspense, I guess, as to what's going to happen to him. Like, sure, we have the guy that we're going to see him fight a dinosaur, yeah, but can he do that and take care of this kid, make sure the kids are safe? I think that's what I guess the kids are probably used for.
A good film, maybe, where that theme comes across is in It, Pennywise. That's the whole idea, is basically that, Pennywise, he feeds on children's fear because they're easily prey, they're easily more scared. So that's one film, for example, where I see the work, and I actually love it also. Not all of it, but that idea basically of how child fears something that is more bad in a young age, basically, and how you confront them. That's like a good idea of how to use children. And I'm not just talking about children, I'm talking about a lot of things. Sometimes people don't think about age in films, and it's something that they really should do. Old age is something that make up work, for example. But basically, age is important, and it's those small details that are important. And basically, in Jurassic Park, they don't think about that. Why is Hammond old? Because he's old. Why is Jeff Goldblum annoying? Because he's annoying, and all of that. There's not really a lot of things behind them. Small details that can actually make just the film a lot better if they pay attention.
Man,
I'm talking a lot. Jeez, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, it sounds like you have a lot more to say, because again, I feel like you remember this movie a lot more than I do right now too. I mean, I feel like part of scientists, I guess, are tricky. I guess the old one seems wiser because he's old.
He's actually not that wise in the film. That's something they criticize him about. It's basically that they want a short budget basically in the film, and Hammond in the film tries to push the whole thing as fast as possible, and that actually leads to how the whole place is actually dangerous in a way. So he's actually I believe they use Hammond in the film to kind of show how he is basically not clever. Sorry, I'm not trying to correct everything you say.
Interesting. No. I mean, it's good because I mean, these are the things like I feel like I'm taking away from this movie that, again, I haven't seen in a long time, and apparently the things that I took away from it, or that stick in my mind that I remember, are wrong just based on the small things I do remember. This old guy, all I remember is that he wears glasses, he has white hair, that impression. The only thing I remember of him gives me the impression that he would be the wise one of the group, the guy who kind of invented everything, I guess, and had this idea and ran with it. And he feels like he should know what's going on just based on what I remember him looking like. I don't remember actually too much about his characteristics at all.
I understand.
Why are the kids there again?
I believe this film is, again, as I say, it's a power fantasy. It's an idea that appeals to children. So I believe somehow having children on screen makes it more easier for them to enjoy. Because when I was younger and I watched the film, I didn't hate them at all. I found them quite funny just because, they liked, an adult parent. Now I hate them, but, So basically, that's the only thing I can logically come to.
I mean, they had to be there for a reason, like in the new Jurassic World, the kids were, the kids of people who were visiting the park, relatives or just someone that worked there, like surely these kids have some familial connection here.
Well, I enjoy them more just because they're not screaming half the time. They're also, talking about the personality sometimes. And it was also just great to see because I have an older brother and we watched in the theater together when I was younger. And I think it came out in 2014, so I was about 9-10 years old. And we watched it together in the theater, and when they had a good connection, I kind of looked upon it and I was like, yeah, we're bros, So I felt they did well done of the brother relationship in the film. But that's Jurassic World. Again, if we talked about the Pratt's in Jurassic Park 1, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to put shade on the actors of the film, because often when I criticize acting, I criticize the directors, because they have a set vision that they want to see accomplished, and if they don't get that, they're not going to have that actor play that character. That's just how it is.
Sure.
So I bet that Steven Spielberg has told them to be Pratts, to scream half the time, and watch Spider-Man 2 a lot of times, because that film they also scream all the time.
Wait, in which movie again?
Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus.
I liked that movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I could just remember that I got a headache after watching it.
All I remember is that the first one, whenever the first one came out, I want to say 99. When I saw it, maybe I was, I don't know, a little young. I remember the goblins scaring me a little bit.
Me too.
Or at least that last fight scene in that abandoned building graveyard where he impales himself. I was like, yikes! The second one did not have that intensity as what William Dafoe brought to that goblin character, I think.
Oh man, I should once talk about Spider-Man 3, because I love that film. It's so it's so stupid that it's one of the best films I've seen in a long time. It's so hilariously idiotic that it's become one of my favorite films of all time. I watch it unironically by myself. And I never watch anything ironically by myself, except that film. I'm sorry, that's a rant. Let's again talk about, it's quite hard to say what else about Jurassic Park, because it is what it is. If you go into this film expecting something else than what it presents itself, then you're gonna be disappointed. It's exactly what it is. Jurassic Park, dinosaur film in a park, screaming ladies. That's what it is. You're not gonna get something else.
Sure, it's a family-friendly dinosaur movie.
I think...
I mean, it's not like Land Before Time family-friendly, but, it's the way Indiana Jones is family-friendly. Here's interesting adventure where, I don't know, the stakes don't... Your heart is not pounding in your chest the way it is with some movies, whether they're going to make it out alive or not. But it is entertaining to watch, and, if there is blood and gore, there's barely any of it other than the face melting scene in Indiana Jones. But, there's none of that intensity, I guess, maybe.
I saw it when I was quite young. I believe when I was 8, 9 years old, and it's 13 plus. And I still didn't quite get scared. It's weird. It's kind of weird when they put the film on the horror And I kind of get sad when that happens because they put it next to Texas Chainsaw Massacre maybe, and I'm like,
oh
you
gosh.
you can't put those two next to each other. That's a crime.
This movie?
Yeah.
No way. This
It's like
on
horror.
IMDb it's classified as action adventure sci-fi. I don't think anything about this movie is horror.
No.
It has some kind of suspenseful scenes. You know, are they gonna make it out? Okay, the kids on the electric fence. The music is telling you that this is intense. You know, it's got those scenes in it, but it doesn't have. You know, it's not like Seven or Silence of the Lambs.
Seven. It's John Doe just come out of nowhere. Hi, kids.
Oh man.
Good twist. And I shout out, you could just see him popping out the frame. Hey guys. There's one thing I want to say, and it's quite important because people like to hate on Jeff Goldblum in the film.
Really?
On my boy Malcolm. Personally, I think I understand where they come from, but here's the thing. I think Malcolm works as a side character, but not as a main character, and that's why I hate him in Jurassic Park Lost World. Because it's so annoying to hear his stuttering voice for 2 hours. It becomes unbearable. But it works a lot more better than in Jurassic Park 1, because he's basically just there to not be a agreement of John Hammond and what he's doing on this island. And it works as just that. I don't need to see him for half an hour in the film again. So I personally don't believe
I always liked Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I also like him, especially in the first film, not in the second, but in the first film I think it works because it's not so up in your face, and he is funny. He has the best one-liners. That's my
I mean, the way that almost sounded was like it was maybe part of Jeff Goldblum's voice. Like, do you just not like him as a leading man?
I just don't like. Here's the thing: his personality is basically just humor in the film, and he alleviates that in the first one. But the main character of the film actually has some, actual theme and motivation. So in the sequel, it's quite hard to just have him as a comedian and not as much as actually a character. He has a daughter, I know, but again, I don't care, and they don't develop her in any interesting ways. It's the same with the wife. They don't really show anything else, and that makes it interesting for me to see a whole movie of him, because he's basically just comedy relief, and that is not what a main character should be. It should always stick to, actually being well written. I'm not saying they can't be funny, Star-Lord is funny, but he also has a lot of great themes, with his mother and all that. And they don't strike that balance with Malcolm.
In the second movie?
Yeah, in the second movie.
All right, man, you're making me feel like I need to rewatch these movies now. I never even saw the fifth one. I saw the trailer and I was like,
Don't watch it.
I don't know, I'm just
I have never in the movies interrupted an audience. I'm someone that keeps his mouth shut when I'm to movies because I respect the film and I respect others, enjoyment. But this film was so bad that I muttered in the film so loud, a large no. Because there's this, I don't care if I spoil it, because I know even if you said no, there's no point in watching it. It's a garbage film. Basically, in the film, there's this chick, and she has the choice to kill all the dinosaurs. It was quite interesting because this whole series of Jurassic Park, they always need to have dinosaurs, and I felt, are they finally gonna kill them off? This is actually a quite bold move. And then the last moment, she opens the door and they leave, and she's like, "They're alive, just like me." And then I screamed at the theaters, no! And everyone looked at me like, what are you doing? It was so hilariously bad. My mom was also like, just shut up. I watched it with my mom, and she was also just so disappointed. I never seen my mom more disappointed.
Oh, man, I don't know. The trailer didn't do anything for me. I didn't know. It looks like one I could skip.
If you want to see, a garbage fire being burned for 2.5 hours, you should watch the film. It's quite good for that, but anything else than that,
Oh, man, that reminds me. I wasted 2 hours watching X-Men Apocalypse. Oh, my gosh. What a What a waste of time. That was a shame. That was a shame.
That's good.
Yikes. And was that part of the trilogy that started with First Class? Because I liked First Class.
I haven't seen the X-Men films in a long time. Like, I remember I liked something about when Wolverine goes back to the future, but I can't remember anything. I'm sorry. So if we're gonna talk about it, I'm just gonna be staring at Blunt.
I think that was part of that trilogy there, because X-Men always does these trilogies here. There's X-Men 1, 2, and 3, Wolverine, Origins, Wolverine, and then, Logan. And then there was First Class, which I liked a lot. Days of Future Past, which you're talking about, which again, I liked a lot. And then this Apocalypse movie, which I did not like. I
think it's quite funny that we don't have anything more to say to Jurassic Park, so we're just moving on to something else. That's how mediocre the film is for me.
I wish I could say more about Jurassic Park. It is probably something I'm going to show my kids one day.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it enough. I'm going to change the rating right now. If it can't be a 9 if I don't remember anything about it. It's got a few of those really cool scenes that, I will always remember. I'll always remember the guy eating on the toilet. I will always remember that water scene. But man, other than that, I can't. I'll always remember the girl with the elbow-length rubber glove sticking her hand in some Triceratops poop.
Yeah, classic.
That classic.
If a film makes me want to maybe watch it again in the future, I think it at least has accomplished something. But that's not much praise, because I also want to watch Spider-Man 3 again, but that doesn't mean it's good. So, but I think I will only watch Jurassic Park again of the reason that I believe the first act is very much a dopamine push, that it's enough to keep me entertained. But for the third act and the ending of the second, I don't know. There's really not much else than just bad horror, and I could replace that with good horror. That's life.
Sure. I mean, I will say the reason that I think most of my ratings are the way they are, I think there's definitely there's always something personal that goes into all ratings. I mean, one movie that's a 10 out of 10 for me is a movie called Kung Pao. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's this guy, Steve Odenkirk, green screened himself into an entirely different movie, a foreign movie. He dubbed all the voices himself. It is so dumb, but I love it. So that movie is a 10 out of 10 for me. Whereas other movies like The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, Donnie Darko, these are movies that I think are just amazing.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're definitely allowed to rate something like Spider-Man 3 high if you love it. It's all a personal thing.
Again, I believe, yeah. But when I'm talking about how I'm rating films, there is more of a objective standard than subjective standard, basically entertainment-wise and also just in a more realistic-wise, if that makes sense. Because when people say enjoy, it's probably because it's in a positive light. But I enjoy Spider-Man 3 because it's in a negative light, I think it's so bad that it's good.
Kind of like the Fast and Furious movies.
So, yeah, so if I'm talking about Jurassic Park and I'm trying to find out what I will rate it as a subjective standard and what as a objective standard. Objective standard, I would say it's a 7.4, and then entertainment-wise, like 7.6. It's a little bit more entertaining than I would think it is.
Still, those are really close.
I don't know. There's some films that again have a lot more in between balance. Spider-Man 3 is like a 5.4 out of 10 of like objective standard, but like out of entertainment-wise, 9.6 out of 10. Like,
woo, that is high.
10s across the line, baby. If I got
Spider-Man 3.
If I got wound to a chair and to watch it like 24 times before I went to bed, I would enjoy every second of it. Like, hang me up. That sounds like
I saw Spider-Man 3 once in theaters when it came out and never again.
Watch it again. That's a classic. Jurassic Park, Spider-Man 3, classic. I need to do a video on it. I'm serious. I have so much love for the film. So much ironic love that I need to do a video.
I think that's something you need to cover. This is something the world needs to hear.
I'm filled with so much ironic love that I need to watch again. Well, guys, that's all we have for today, okay? If you enjoy a video, then please leave a dislike and subscribe and like and dislike again. But more importantly, please subscribe to my good friend Lad here, TV Trivia, for Bryan.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a great time here. Thanks for having me. I would definitely be interested in coming back someday, maybe about a movie I remember more or feel more passionately about than I just discovered how dispassionately, I guess, I feel about Jurassic Park. But yes, thank you for the shout out. Yeah, I'm the host of TVTriviaPod. That's on at TVTriviaPod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the podcast players, just for quality TV trivia about your favorite shows.
I'm gonna call this episode Nerdy Guy with a Bad Hairline Talks Trash to an Innocent White Boy. Not talks trash, but you know. Well, guys, before we leave, I just have an announcement, and that is I have a new schedule for how my future plans of videos are going to be like. So I'm gonna be trying to release one podcast and one normal video per week, and then a longer video every second week. So basically, you will get about 10 videos per month.
Holy smokes.
That's a lot, guys. So please subscribe, you know, because I'm gonna be posting. I already posted today, so you know, damn. But that's all for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you again, TV Trivia, for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, bye bye.